go over trades to make sure everything's right. And there is inside the Discord, if you scroll down, there is a little section here called the Trading Classroom, which you can see right here, right below VIP chat. And in here we have a few people in here, but let's get down here to the trade that we're going to look at right here. So we got Monroe. All right, so Monroe asked a question. He said, VC, would you please look at this trade? I made it and it went south. I traded long, entered on the 15-minute green moon. I appreciate it, right? As we can take a look here, this was traded on February 28th, 2023. Large peak, middle peak, and right before this breakdown, 3 moons to a red moon. And let's go find this trade. So this is on Fetch AI. So boom, Fetch AI. Pull it up. February 28th. Here's the large peak. Here's the recovery, and here's the 3 moons. 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4th moon that basically happened for him that went south on him, right? So this is the trade that we are in here. Let's go ahead and mark this trade up real quick so that we know exactly what we're looking at. This is the February 28th trade, and this is the trade section that we'll be looking at right here. So he's saying that he entered on the number 2 moon, which is right here. I don't know how this went south. Okay, we're gonna find out right here, man. He's saying he's entered on this moon number 2, right? And I'll go and show you what basically that is, right? So we're gonna section off this trade here. Let's go back to Discord just so I understand what he's saying. Here's the big peak, right? Then a pull, short, another pull, big pull, right? Came down, pull, and then it went short right there. 2 big spike, no volume, big volume, green, red. I said to him, I said, okay, what moon did you enter on, right? Green moon. Green moon number 1 here, green moon number 2 here. And he said I entered on green in 2 green, number 2 right here. Okay, so that would be on that second spike right in that section there where there was another piece of volume. Let's go to Fetch AI to see where we're at, and that is definitely this trade right here. So big spike, no volume, and then big spike. So he's saying he entered right here. I don't know how this trade went wrong. So let's take a look here. Boom, boom, entered right there on this moon, right? So let's take a look at the whole trade and see where we're at as far as like as a trade, if it was a good trade, right? Here's that trade. There's the enter right there. Let's go through our RSIs and see where we're at. And right here we have a pullback, and we have that moon right here. So he entered on this moon. So let's move this over to that moon. We'll give it another candle right in here. Let's put a line through the RSI so that we know that that is also where he entered. And let's see if we got this all set up correctly. Pull across, green moon, positive volume, perfect entry. Right here is the entry. That's where he's supposed to enter. Let me draw a line in here as well so that we have all entry spaces covered. Okay, there we go. All right, so now on the 15-minute, that all looks good. Green moon, green trend, green moon, positive volume. That's a great entry, right? So I'm unfamiliar how that would go south, because I mean, I'm looking at this trade and that looks like a pretty good trade. Let's take a look at the percentage here. I don't know if he's... What's our goal? Our goal is to clear 1%, right? This I'm confused. This trade cleared at this level here, entering at this moon, right? Even if you got in at the bottom part of that moon, right? So let's bring this down a little bit. Let's say that you got in not even on this candle, but say the second candle on the second leg of the pump. I mean, this is a 3% move. So I'm not really sure where this trade went wrong. Now, it does have a pullback. Now, everyone knows that we're doing a minimum of a 50x margin, right? Or at least the minimum, you got to be in a 30, right? 30, that's just too small. You should be doing 50x margins no matter what happens here. Okay, he's getting back to me. Sorry, the second green moon, reading the screen from left to right. 20x leverage long on 45.73. All right, so he just got back to me, and this is what we're going right here. All right, so sorry, second green moon, reading the screen from left to right. 20x leverage on the long trade entry. 45.73, sold 44.52. All right, let's go check this out. Entry 45.73. All right, so that first moon that you missed right there is obviously the one you wanted to get into. We had a pullback, came down, and on the pullback, you entered on this moon right here. Now, that is on the second trade. That is the trade that already missed the original trade. Remember, here's the trend, right? So let's look at the colors, right? First trade option. Green trend, red trend to green trend, then a moon, then volume. That's the entry, right? You entered on the secondary trade, which is literally way over here. Okay. So now that we got that right, let's figure out what went wrong there. Okay, now the first thing that went wrong is that you're entering the trade already on the second leg of the trade, the second option, which we don't want to do. We want to stay more in the front option, right? Especially if you're only doing a 20x leverage, you have to be on the very first trade. Otherwise, you're not getting the maximum move. That first move is worth 3%, right? The second move is going to be half that, maybe 1%, right? So a 20x is barely going to make it, but it still should have cleared enough for you to take profits, right? So let's figure this out. Okay. That's the first mistake that you made, is you're entering the second trade. First trade right here. As soon as this went positive volume, green moon, this is the first trade right here. Boom. That trade right there, solid 3 to 5%. Now, what you're getting is a retrace, right? This is what we call a reset moon, where the trend is a color, the moon becomes the same color, the moon goes to a different color, the trend stays the same, the moon resets back to its original color, and that creates a jump, right? Which it does jump right here, right? Now the difference is, what is that jump worth? So when we go to this jump here, right, which on this candle here, we can see that that candle right there was that jump. So we're going to move to the next candle up. I'm still trying to figure out how this go wrong. Because no matter what, when you do a reset candle, that jump is always worth a pretty good amount of, at least a 1.5% gain. That's the average of a moon reset. That's why I love making that trade, because it's a solid 1% move, 1.5. So a 1% move means I double my money, because I 80x. So I'm saying it's pretty close to a double up, at least a 50% gain. So now on this moon here, right? This moon here you entered. This is the candle you should have entered here. Let's say that candle goes to the next candle. We'll go to the bottom here. Let's move this down just a little bit. There you go. So that move right there, the next two candles hit a minimum of 1.5%. The entire goal is to move 1%. Why? Because if you're only doing a 50x, this moves 1%. What does that give you? 50% gains, right? That's why we use a 50x, minimum 50x. The bare minimum that you can use is 40, right? I mean, you cannot go below 40. Everyone should be 50 to 80x. Okay, 50 to 80x. That's the leverage. 50, 80x, right? Because these indicators are they're very solid on triggering 1% gains. That's why we use the indicators. 1% gains times 50 is what? 50% gains. Half of that is 25% true profit, right? So even if you were using a 20x here, you should have got a 1%. You should have seen your percentages hit 20% where you locked in your stop loss, and then you went for an extra 0.5, which is another 10%. So this was a 30% gain, right? Our entire goal is to always take 20% profits, 20% profits. If you do that 5 times in a row, right, you double your money. If you do it 10 times in a row, that's a definite double your money, because even half of the profits, is basically, we always do a half, 50 of what is really happening, so that we can give ourselves a realistic goal. So 5 trades should double your money, but we just say 10 to make it realistically to say, oh, 10 trades, I double my money. But we're doubling our money every 3 trades, to be honest. So I don't see what went wrong here, right? So let's go back and go through this entire trade to figure out what could have been a little better. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look here. I'm gonna thicken this up here, because what I want to do here is make sure that I'm looking at the RSIs on the overall spectrum. So the first thing I do is slide down to my 4 hour, right? Just like any other trade, we have steps to this. Step 1, doom 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 doom. Step 1, doom 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 doom. Step 1, doom 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 doom. Step 1, doom doom. Step 1, Step 1, Step 1, RSI 4 hour. Take a look real close. Right there, the 4 RSI bounced and it's starting to head up. You see that right there? You see it how on the hour RSI right there? Let me turn this into a 1. Boom. Right there. You see the RSI bouncing right there? Beautiful. You see it bouncing up? That's a beautiful trade. The fact that the RSI came down and started bouncing up right there should have let you know that watching this trade that you should have stayed with this trade, because it's going to bounce and then play, depending on the other RSIs, it's always going to have a pullback. But that 4 hour pulled back a little and then bounced, and then it went here. And that is where you should have put more into it, because now it's on a tear, right? Up, pull back, up, tear. You should have watched it. That's why the 4 hours is so important to watch, guys. Pay attention to that, right? So I guarantee this coin exploded right here for sure. All right, now that we got the 4 hour saying that perfect timing on the trade, looks good. Let's go to the 1 hour. To take a look and see where we're at. The 1 hour RSI below the 80 line, right? So here's our 80 line. It's below it. So perfect. That trade is perfect. Take a look here. What do we have? A green moon, also confirming with the 15-minute. Perfect trade, right? Perfect trade right there. Now, the thing about this is when you see this 1 hour hit here and come back down, you should have re-entered the long right here. When you go red, the RSI bounces. This green moon right here, this green moon on the hour, look at that. Now let's go take a look at the whole trade, because just showing you the RSI, you know, maybe you guys aren't paying attention. Here's a green trend. What do we have? Moon resets, right? Here you go. Here's a moon reset. Green trend, right? What do we got? Red moon to green moon, right? Right. Here's a green moon and a green trend. There's a pump, right? Comes down, pumps all the way up. Here's a red moon. That's a sell right there. Red moon, sell. Boom, you sell. Now, a moon reset is when a moon and a trend are the same color. The moon changes color, you sell, and then it goes back to the color, you buy. You ride that up, and then it goes back to the red color. The trend stays the same. The trend stays the same color. That's the reset of the moon. The moon is the one that's resetting, not the trend. Red, you sell. It goes green, you buy again. Look at that. Look at this run that you would have had by just following these moon resets. Boom, moon, green, there you go. Red moon, look at this red moon. Red moon, you sell, boom, you come all the way back. And then boom, on your green moon, that's a reset, right? Look at that push. That's already a winner. Now, it does pull back to the, it does pull back here. And I think that's where, is that where we took the loss? I think that's where the loss is, right? Is that what we have here? All right, the 1 hour. So this all looks great. And just look at this trends right here. Red right here, if you're selling, right, comes all the way down. This green moon kicks in again. You're still in a green trend. So if you're following the moons and you're just kind of playing the moons, you get again into this position right here. And look at what happens right here. So if you would have just been playing the game, just following the system, right? All of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades, 6 trades later, you explode right here, right? Now look at these gains right here. Now this right here kicks off and boom, here's your green moon, right? So let's say you get in here. This moon right here literally exploded for, what was that? 7%. Phenomenal, right? Now let's go back here and see. So far this entire trade's looking good. I mean, the entry right there. So the 1 hour is moving in the right direction. So this all looks good, man. It looks like you made a really good trade. Now we get down to the 15-minute, right? So now we take a look at the 15-minute RSI to make sure you're following what the instructions are. Now we're at the 15-minute RSI. This is the moon that you enter on. Okay, now we start to see the issue. What's the issue? Well, actually, there's no issue here because the 15-minute did pull back and then it bounced. So the only thing that you kind of missed here is getting into this, getting ready to do this long, was right here when the 15-minute bounced and started to head up. That right there would be an early entry. Once it crosses the red right there, that would be an early entry. That would have got you into this candle here, right? A little bit better positioning, another extra 1.5% right there. You would have got right there. Once it bounces and it starts to head up, because we know that this coin is in a long position. After looking at the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the trends, all the trends are green, meaning that this coin is in an upward trend. So when the 15-minute bounces, we can look and go, oh man, that should be an entry. Now what I want to do here is I'm going to mark the 15-minute trend bounce, right? And I'm going to hit this with a red or an orange, because what this actually is I want to go and say, once the 15-minute bounces, you go to the 5-minute to make sure that the 5-minute has plenty of space to grow. So now that I'm in the 5-minute, right, let's pull this out. The last part of this puzzle is getting in on the 5-minute, which is your entry point, right? So the 15-minute bends, right? Boom, the 15-minute bends. You jump to the 5. Here's your 15-minute RSI. You jump to the 5-minute RSI. Where's the 5-minute RSI? It is at the bottom. That is the entry right there. The bottom of the 5-minute RSI. Hit the bottom. It starts to go up. The 15-minute bends. You look at the 5-minute. It is at the bottom. This is an entry. The entry should have been right here on this candle right here. That's the only difference. Not on this moon. That was a little bit later. That got you here. But if you would have entered this properly, right, giving yourself a little bit. And I want to look at this again because I don't think, see, so here, this right there would have been this candle. So let's move up to this candle here. And now that we got a little better entry position, you know, overall you made a 1.5%. So I don't know where this went wrong. So I'm kind of like thinking, so no matter what, this was a 2.5% entry right here. So this played out perfectly. Now let's get back to how you entered. You entered right on that green moon on the 15. So you went just off the 15, which is okay. You don't get the greatest entry like you would if you go to the 5 and then when the 15-minute bounces, you go to the 5 and the bottom 5-minute RSI is at the bottom, and then you jump in and you're able to get in at the best entry spot, which is the videos I just made a ton about. You got in at just going off the 15-minute, which is also designed to get 1% gains no matter what. And the thing is, we hit the 1% gain. So Mike, I'm confused here on where you went wrong, because you entered and you got that 1% move before it fell down. Now, where should you have sold the trade, right? Now, once you enter on a 15-minute trade, you then have to go down to the 3-minute, okay? Once you enter on a 15-minute trade, you go down to the 3-minute, okay? What is the 3-minute? The 3-minute is where you sell the trade when the trend changes color. See the 3-minute trend? Green, green. You enter right here if you did it right. You entered late. You entered here, which is okay. And it pulled back a little and it kept going. And then you sell right here on this candle, which is the trend, right? So let's move you up and get this in a position where you actually entered. So this sell would have happened right here. So the sell would have happened on this candle right here. Okay? That's where the sell would have came in. Now let me fly to the 15-minute. And let's see if you were in the right position. But either way, once that 1%, you were in, your entry was good and it moved the 1%. You should have put your stop loss up to the 20%. As soon as the 20% mark hit, you should have moved your stop loss right to the 20%. And no matter what, you're taking 17 to 20% gains on that. That's a winner. That's a winning trade. So here's your 15-minute moon, right? Here you go. 15-minute moon, your enters right there. So let me close this out a little bit. Okay, here we go. Here we go. 15-minute moon right there. That's 1% gains. Even if you would, so remember, you're closing on the 3-minute trend going red. That hasn't moved. Here's your 15-minute moon. Here's your entry. What did you say your entry was? 45.73. 45.73. Let's go back to Fetch AI. 45.73. Control Z. 45.73. Hold on. And the sell would have been 45.88. 45.73. Let me see if I can close that a little bit. $45.88. Okay, hold on. 45.73. Let's find your entry here. First of all, let's make sure your entry was right. I mean, that entry, 45.73, right? 45.73. So you entered on the bottom of this third candle, right? So here's your so you didn't enter on the 15-minute moon. Here's your problem. Here's your 15-minute moon. Here's the first candle you should have entered. You didn't enter there. Okay, so that's part of the problem. Your entry was terrible. Now, if you were entering on the 15-minute moon, you might be setting the way you enter on your trading platform. You might be on the market. If you hit market, then it buys the highest price of the coin at that moment, because it's buying your shares. When you enter and you have market set, it goes by market. It goes to the highest price just to fill your order. You need to make sure it always says limit. So when you go in there and you set a limit, and this particular price on this candle was 45.30, and you said, okay, and this candle at that time was 45.49, you set your price to limit, and then you type in the price you want to buy, and instead of 45.49, you need to be a little bit higher on limit. You would type in 45.54, and then it would buy down to 45.49, and then you would have the best entry for your money right here. I think what happened to you is you might be on market, and then you hit market and it buys in, and then all of a sudden you get this really high price because that's the highest price of the market at the current time that you're buying into your trade, right? But nevertheless, let's see if you would have survived this. So that's what's happening to you, man. So right there, right? 45.73, and then this one was 45.88. Yeah, that's what happened. I think you're on market, and that gave you a real terrible entry, because that entry point 45.73, that entry point is literally 1 2, that's 45 minutes later, Matt. So I think that's your problem, man, because that's why you got into that terrible position, and you're below the yeah, that's what happened, man. If you would have entered this properly, right? Remember, you want to have your buttons on limit when you're ordering. Make sure it says limit wherever you're ordering. It says limit, and then when you see the price at 45.51, you just click on it, hit recent price, 4551 comes in. Click in front of the 51, hit backspace, and instead of 1, make it a 9, and then place your order, and it will buy down from 4559 down to 4551, 52, 53, etc. If you have market, it buys up. So I think that's what happened to you. Because if you entered on that 15-minute moon right there, that's a winner, right? Now, if you would have stayed on top of this trade, right? Like I said, like you were literally one moon away from winning big time. If you would have stayed on this trade, you would have saw that your RSI, when you sold, the 15-minute RSI came all the way down and bottomed out. After it bottomed out, it started to grow again. You see how it's starting to grow again here? You could look here and now say, take all these trades. Let me move all these lines here. Now I move these lines to where the RSI on the 15-minute is starting to bounce, where you should start looking to get back in, right? So you would have been watching this, and you would have seen this green moon happen right here. You would have entered on this green moon. I'm gonna make this a little bit thicker for you right there. And then you would have checked your like at that point, you can go to your 1 hour, right? Let's double check everything. Here's your 1 hour, right? What is the 1 hour saying at that time? The 1 hour is saying it's bottoming out, right? Look at that. And what you could have done is looked at your 1 hour RSI and said, okay, the 1 hour RSI is just bounced up. Look at it bouncing up right there. Boom, the 1 hour RSI just bottomed out and started to bounce up, right? Right there. Literally right on your main trade, right there. That's the main trade. Boom, right there. That means you're about to run. That's a perfect entry. Now you slide over to your 5 minutes real quick to see if you are all the way bottomed out on your 5 minutes. So let's take a look at the trade right here. Let me show you how this works. So now the 1 hour is bouncing up, the 15 minutes on its way up. We slide over to the 5 minute. Let me grab the little 5 minute line right there. We'll come get it later. Boom, don't matter. Okay, here we go. Now we slide into here and our 5 minute is oversold. So what do? We wait for the pullback. The pullback comes to here, right? And what is that? What is that? That's the exact fucking trade right there. Look, RSI pulls back right there at that moment. There you go. The RSI pulls back. You enter right here. This is the next big trade, right? Now, this trade right here runs up. What date is that? Yeah, this trade runs up. Look at this percent right here. And you got in right in here. So this trade runs up 2.5%, 3% right there. 3 minute trend goes red, I guarantee you right here, because the 5 minute went red. And then the 3 minute came back with the RSI bouncing again right here, turning green. You would have got another trade. This trade goes for another 2.5%. So there's 5% winners right there. And now you're just playing this 5 minute RSI all the way down. You're re-entering. There's a trade. And you're working this over, right? Boom, right? And you're playing these little 5 minute RSI because everything is lining up for longs. And then all of a sudden you get to this point, and after all these trades, you get to this trade right here and you enter. And guess what, man? Playing the game, hitting small balls, just like baseball. You hit small ball all day long. What do you win? You get to a title just like this. Boom, 7% gain. And that's it, man. That's how you wrap it up, guys. All right, man, that is how to do it. Other than that, you entered in the right trade. What I think you're doing wrong is on your exchange, you're hitting market on your exchange, and it's taking the highest price possible for your entry when you need to put limit. And when you go in to get into your trade, you need to then, whatever the price is, if it's 4, 5, 10, you need to go to that 10 and delete those last two numbers and make it 20. And then it will go from 4, 5, 20 and buy down, right? Because if it's moving up and you don't have a higher price than it's moving up, then it'll get locked here on the limit and you won't be able to get in until it comes back down. So that way you want to put a price a little bit higher so that it buys down to the price that's coming up. Get it? All right, that's it, guys. Other than that, good luck. God bless, man.